Hello, everyone. I hope you guys are able to hear me well. Hi, everyone. Welcome again. So let's start. So today we're going to discuss about how RPA journey can be started. We'll look about UiPath Mr. Robot, which is an AI-powered RPA tool, and we'll see how you can start your journey to automate different things using the UiPath automation tool. Before starting, let me quickly speak about myself. So I am having total 8 years of experience in IT development, maintenance, ranging from data warehouse, ETL, production support, and robotic process automation. If I talk about my RPA journey, so I am having total 4 years of experience in RPA, mainly on Blue Prism and UiPath tool. I have also worked with Python-based robot framework. Nowadays, lot many companies are trying to use open source tools, and robot framework is used during that. So that's a brief intro about myself. Let's quickly move about the agenda today and for tomorrow. So what we're going to learn in next 2 days. All right. The first thing that we're going to talk today is what is RPA all about? What are the different market leading RPA tools are? We'll discuss in detail about the UI path and how UI path is better, or how UI path is positioning itself in a market in competition with others. We'll look about what are the developer role and the career path if you want to build your career in UI path, RPA tool. We'll talk about the certification details, what are the future risks and some challenges. And then we'll have some hands-on session where we'll set up your machine for the learning. That means we'll be working with UiPath Studio. We'll guide through how UiPath Studio can be used for data scraping and automation. We'll see a complete example of email automations where we'll be using UiPath Studio to do some automation work on Outlook. And then at the end of the session today, we'll be taking up some of the questions that you have. Similarly, tomorrow we'll be continuing from where we left today, and we'll continue the automation journey by understanding how we can automate different applications using Excel, and then we'll talk about how web-based applications can be automated. And at the end of the session tomorrow, we'll look about how AI and ML can be integrated in an RPA workflow, so that if you have any questions, you should be able to ask on that. So that's how this details about. And okay, so let's quickly go and start with the first module, which is module number 1. Just hold for a second. I'm switching the all right. So let's start with the module 1, and we'll see about how RPA can be used in automating your journey. And we'll also talk about details about different tools and all those stuff. So let's start with the first. What is RPA all about, and how RPA can be used to automate the stuff that we do on our day-to-day basis in office. And so let's get started. What is RPA? First thing that we need to talk about, the robotic process automation is a technology that allow anyone today to configure the computer software robot or a robot to mimic the action that we do within our digital system to execute the business processes. All of we are working on a different processes into our office. We do some of the repetitive tasks. We go to certain web application, or we do some of the manual work that we do on Excel. So all those work that we do on a daily basis or a repetitive basis, those can be automated using the robotic process automation tool. And how it works is RPA tool, be it any tool, I mean, whether it's a UiPath or a Blue Prism or automation anywhere, all of these tools uses a similar technology where bot will be using the UI or the user interface of the existing application to capture the data to manipulate the application like we do, like clicking on the button, going to some forms, and interpreting the responses that we receive from the system in order to perform the variety of repetitive tasks. So in terms of working of RPA would be similar in a way that a human is doing. So it's basically instead of working you, a bot which is designed to work in a way that you are doing the action will be considered as robotic process automations. If we talk about how RPA has been adopted across the organization, so we can see that 33% of the organizations across the globe are currently using RPA, or they're planning to increase the uses of RPA in next couple of months. So that's how been said by the Gartner. So Gartner is a basically organization which take care of lot many surveys, lot many correspondent, lot many reports to understand the uses of tools and technology across the globe. And Gartner has predicted that RPA market is going to increase its footfall across the globe by 4 billion by 2023. And if you look at the some of the figures that I have put into this slide is UiPath has raised over 400 millions since 2005. Automation Anywhere has raised approx half billion in last couple of years. Blue Prism revenue has crossed double in 2 years. So if you look at all of these figures, one thing that is notable here is despite the economic pressure caused by the COVID-19, the RPA market is still expected to grow at a double-digit rate. I have seen lot many organizations where they have cut the funds for the different projects, but what they're trying to do is they're trying to build a bot, or they're trying to build a robotic process automations workflow so that some of the work that has been done by the employees repetitively, they can be done by RPA bots. So even if there is a lot many cost measure and cutting happening due to the COVID-19, but the RPA is a one area where a lot many organizations are still trying to invest more and more. So that's been quite clear by looking at all of these data. Now, if you look at this quadrant, I'm trying to make a sample example here to make you understand what are the different industry leaders are in a market and who are top among them. So if you look at the quadrant, you'll see at the top right, UiPath is there, Automation Anywhere is there, Blue Prism is there, and then we have WorkFusion, we have SoftMotive, we have Kofax and IntelliBot. These are the few industry leading tools. Some of the other tools like Microsoft has recently come up with Power Automate because they acquired the SoftMotive and WinMotive. So that's also growing up, but it is not shown because this is depicting from year 2019, and in year 2020, there are a lot many changes happened. Lot many consolidation has happened because SAP acquired lot many other small players. Microsoft has acquired lot many small players, and now they are positioning themselves as a bigger player. And in coming year, you will see that Microsoft will be in a leader quadrant as well. And then you'll be also seeing SAP and IBM moving to the strong performer. So that's how industry is moving. But the one thing that you need to note is that RPA is working in a non-intrusive way. That means it's leveraging the existing infrastructure without causing any disruption to underlying system. It's not doing any changes and not asking for anything to change into the existing system for automation to work. And that's the reason it's quite popular. Lot many banking industries and lot many industries where mainframe is used, where COBOL is used, where the terminal systems are used, and they don't have the APIs for the automations. They are relying heavily on the RPA so that they can interact with the modern applications. And that's where RPA is doing wonders. So if we quickly move to the next slide and see how these vendors are aligned into the industry in terms of their scale, in terms of their functionality, in terms of how the services they are giving to. So if you look at this deck, you'll see lot many names are repetitive in nature. If we talk about the overall ranking of a one tool, we can't say this tool is a number one or this tool is number two or this tool is number three. The reason being, one tool could be better in scaling the automation. The other tool could not be a better in scaling the automation. Few tool has advantage of integration with the BPM tools and other systems like Pega, right? But it does not have the capability to implement the services and support. Similarly, the Blue Prism has good governance model and control and securities, where the UiPath is lacking. But UiPath having a lot many functionalities and it's easy to use. So that's how. But if you look at this deck clearly, you will see the three names are repetitive a lot, which are automation anywhere, UiPath, Blue Prism, and then there is a strong performer that is Work Fusion coming across. So these are the top 10 RPA software ranking. This is provided by the HFS, and HFS is a research organization which take care of doing a ranking and positioning of all the RPA vendors. And this is the latest report that has been published by them in September. So in years to come, we might see some changes because, as I told you, Microsoft has acquired lot many smaller players to move their tool a more better, because Softmotive is here and now it has been acquired by Microsoft. So the things will change. But as of now, UiPath is currently leading the market in a terms of its market revenue. 13% of the market share is being acquired by the UiPath. 10% is being acquired approx by the Blue Prism, and 12% is by Automation Anywhere. So that's how. And these figures keep changing because the annual renewals of the licensing happens and it keeps changing. Sometimes, some organizations switch the vendors and some organizations do some cost cutting by removing some bots. But still, these three are the top leader performing in the RPA tools. All right. If you have any questions around these tools, you should be able to chat your questions in a message box, and I should be able to answer them when I see and when I find it's appropriate to answer, right? So let's quickly move on the next step and see how RPA has been adopted across the different industries and functions, right? We said that the RPA is being used in all of the industries, right? We said that lot many organizations are now adopting RPA to automate their tasks. We have seen that lot many organizations are trying to capture the footprint of the RPA so that some of the processes can be automated. So in this take, what I have captured is I have put down the verticals. In the vertical is industry, and at the below we have some functions, right? So we have banking, financial sectors, we have insurance, we have healthcare and pharma, we have manufacturing, high tech, and travel logistic. And at the bottom, you could see there are some common processes that happens across all of these verticals. In banking and financials also there is FA. In insurance also there is a FA. In healthcare there is also FA. So if you look at all of these things, and at the end, at the right side, if you look at the vertical, I have put some of the processes which are specific to that particular vertical. Say for example, card activation is specific to banking and financial services. Customer onboarding, which is specific to banking and financial services, not specific, but their way of doing things are different than other verticals. Similarly, insurance, claim processing. In healthcare, report automation and system reconciliations. In manufacturing, bills of material generations. So these are some specific processes that are specific to those verticals, and at the bottom we have some common processes which is across all of these verticals. If you look at these deck and the color coding, the darker it is showing that lot many automation has already happened in those areas. So if you look at the banking and financial sector, lot many processes which are from financing and account, especially GL reporting and the cash management, AP, expense reporting, all those processes have been already automated. And this is not something that I am pointing out. It is based on the report that is published by HFS and Everest Group. So this is been reported by all of these vendors that they have already automated the processes which is taking care of GL and reporting. And similarly, the one which is less darker in insurance and healthcare pharma, they are lagging behind the banking and financial sector, but is still better than other sectors. If you look at the first column after the vertical, you'll see in the financing and accounting, almost all the vertical has automated some of the processes. Human resources, one area which is less automated. A lot many people are now trying to automate the things. Similarly, if you look at the contact center where we have support and services, lot many organization has already automated the stuff, right? So RPA adoption is not specific to some industry and not specific to some function. It can be used and utilized in any of the area, whether it is specific to that vertical or it is common across all the verticals. That's what I'm trying to say here. And this is only just an example. There are a lot many processes are specific to the organization need and specific to the governance and the councils they have. But still, if you look at, there is a lot of possibilities to automate things in the procurement, human resource, and a contact center. There are a lot of possibilities, even though already been done in the financing and accounting, but we can automate things, right? So this is how overall RPA adoption and the potential by industry and function. So if you're working in, you can have a look at your vertical and see what are all those areas where you can do the automation. And I'll be sharing this PPT after the end of the webinar, so you should be able to cross-reference it. All right. So let's move on the next slide and see how UiPath and what this tool is all about, right? And we'll talk about some of the fact why we need to why we have selected UiPath for this webinar session, where we're guiding you how to build a bot using the UiPath tool. All right. The first thing, that UiPath is a robotic process automation tool that is used to automate repetitive, redundant tasks without a human intervention. So you can build attended automation and unattended automation as well. When I say attended automation, that means a human is required to supervise or to do some of the stuff. But you can also build an automation where there will be no need of a human and bot will be doing everything automatically without asking anything to the human. So that's the point number one. And then this tool offers different addition to support different type of users. And it comes with a vibrant community to resolve the issues. So even if you do not want to go for the enterprise license, you can use the community edition to build your automation for your personal work. And there are not many members, or the community member is a very vibrant, and from where you should be able to resolve the issue, because you are not using the enterprise tool, so you are not getting support from the UiPath. But that's the beauty of this tool. Community support is much better than any other tool. UiPath RPA high-level platform not only provide the automations for the desktop and the web-based application, but it also provide a support to automate the things that you do in your SAP and Citrix integration. You can start easy and the fast, reason being, lot many organizations across the globe has done the automation and they have published their tools as an activity so that you can start from there. So a lot of reusable components are available. You'll see that if you want to automate or you want to integrate a Slack in your workflow, you will find the activities which is already available on UiPath. If you want to automate the stuff which do some task on a SharePoint, you will find that there is an activity already available in a UiPath that manage the workflow of the SharePoint, and similarly so on. So you have lot many activities, not only for the web, desktop, SAP, and Citrix, but also for some other leading tool like Bitbucket, Slack, Microsoft Tools, SharePoint, AWS, Azure, and lot many, right? And it's started in year 2005 by Dennis, and it's being used across the globe now with lot many customer onboarded. Here are some facts why we are talking much about the UiPath, why not other tool, and how it is positioning itself in competition with the others, right? If you look at some of these facts and figures, you'll see that UiPath has positioned it really, really well. In September 2019, UiPath was ranked number 3 on Cloud 100. Similarly, if you look at some of the report that has been published by CNBC and the Deloitte, you'll see that UiPath is coming again and again. Recently, UiPath is also in news because they are going public. They're coming up with their IPO and they're targeting to list themselves in NYSE by June. So let's see how it goes. But they have recently been revalued at a 7 billion. So which is a big task because in 10 years time, so they started in 2005 and now they started full-fledged operation, and in this many years they have become a #1 RPA company, right? So these are just a fact and figures. You can get it from any blogs which covers the technical news. Let's now quickly move to UiPath building blocks and how UiPath tool works and what are the components of UiPath and what are the things you will interact with when you are going to build a product or an automation for yourself, right? The first thing that we need to talk here is UiPath has been divided into 3 basic building components. The first component is UiPath Studio. The second component is UiPath Robot, and third component is UiPath Orchestrator, right? UiPath Studio is a platform that is used to create an automation board. So you can say Studio is where you design your bot. Robot is one who executes your bot, and Orchestrator is one which manages and control everything that you do, right? So in UiPath Studio, you design the workflow, you connect one workflow with another workflow, you design how you will be performing the task on an actual system, and then you'll be packaging them and publishing it to the orchestrator. And from the orchestrator, you should be able to manage the dashboard where you should be able to deploy and schedule your bot to run at any given time. Not only this, UiPath Orchestrator also provide some of the additional features like management reporting. So you should be able to see how many queue item or a task item has been done by the robot. So you have also a reporting capability available on the UiPath Orchestrator. And the third component, which is the Mr. Robot, that is the UiPath Robot, is the actual executor, which runs on a machine where the task need to be done. They run the automation that is created using the UiPath Studio. So just to recap, UiPath Studio is a tool that will be used to create a workflow to design your bot. UiPath Orchestrator is a web-based application that controls and manages everything that you do for building a bot. And UiPath Robot is an actual executor, or you can say as a worker who perform the task, right? But UiPath has not only these many tools. They have lot many other tools which are useful when you are doing end-to-end RPA automations. I have briefly talked about UiPath Studio, which is used to build the automation using simple drag and drop interfaces. I have talked about what the orchestrator is, which gives you power to provision, deploy, trigger, and monitor the bots. Or then we talked about the UiPath robots, or simply you can call robots. They perform the huge range of tedious tasks the way you configured. But apart from those three components that we saw in the last deck, there are a few other tools and few new tools that has come as add-on component in a UiPath. The first thing we're going to talk about the task capture. So task capture is used in a requirement gathering phase. So say for example, if you are working as a business analyst for the RPA, you need to capture the process so that you can automate it. So task capture is a tool that takes the selfie of your work. So basically what it does is it records every key stroke or every click of a button that you do on your system so that you can document it and you can create a process design document so that RPA developer can design a bot for you. So task capture is a tool which takes care of the selfie of your process. Then we have an action center. We all know bot can go bonker if they are not being controlled. So many times we put human in a loop so that a human can look at and validate that bot is doing is what it's supposed to do. And then there is also a concept of approval, escalation, or SLAs. So all those things can be controlled and managed using the action center. So action center is another tool which gives you capability to put human in a loop so that you can design a workflow using the concept of approval and escalations, right? Then there is another component called UiPath Insight. As I briefly talked to you about how UiPath Insight works is it tracks and measure and forecast the performance of your bot. So say for example, on a given day, you have 100 of tasks to work upon. In those cases, UiPath Insights will give you that out of these 100 tasks, only 80 could be completed because based on the past result, I could see that one item takes around 10 minutes and given a time, it can only complete 80 tasks. It cannot be able to complete 100 tasks. So those kind of insights and the measure can be given by the UiPath. Not only this, once you deploy a bot, you also try to calculate the ROI of your process because you are putting money to buy an enterprise license. You are putting money to build a bot for you, but you also need to measure that it's giving some return and it's saving some dollar value for me. In those scenarios, UiPath Insight is a tool that forecasts and gives the performance about your Mr. Robot. UiPath Test Suite is nothing but a new tool which is basically used for automating the testing capability. So you are building a bot, and building of a bot also follow a software development life cycle. It doesn't follow a different life cycle, right? So in that area also, you need to automate the test cases of automations. And in those scenarios, UiPath Test Suite will work as a different tool that will manage and automate the testing capability. It can also be used as a standalone things if you want to automate some of the other web applications, tasks, and all those things. So these are few products of the UiPath. Not only this, there are some also products available as an add-on, like UiPath AI Fabric, which is providing AI ML capability for automating the stuff that requires artificial intelligence or machine learning algorithms. You can also integrate chatbots using UiPath Chatbot. That's also available as an add-on. Then there is a tool for the process mining. UiPath also provides an automation hub, which is nothing but a portal where you can capture and record, right, what automation that you need to perform, right? So those things can be captured on the automation hub. It's basically a tool where you'll be receiving a request from all the enterprise user on what things need to be automated. And then based on the candidates available, you'll be selecting out of these processes fits BIM for the automation and can be automated in coming future. So automation hub is a tool where you can generate the ideas for the automation. Similarly, there is another tool or add-on called document understanding, which is used for PDF automation. So there are a lot of examples where you need to automate the process, where you need to read the PDF or a handwritten document or a forms. So in those scenarios, document understanding, or simply call it DU, is a tool that is used for automating the PDFs and handwritten text. And a lot many other tools are also there. There are also few tools which been given by the UiPath is UiPath apps, UiPath forms. Those are all available as an add-on. But on basic UiPath, you have three things, which is Studio, Orchestrator, and third one is UiPath Robots. And rest of other tools are optional and add-ons. If you need it, you can use them and buy them as an enterprise license. If you don't need, you don't need to worry about those, right? Any question here so far? If you have any questions, you can chat your questions and I should be able to answer those. Okay, so let me move to the next slide and let's see some of the important link given by the UiPath. So here what I have done is I have listed out all of the links which are important because you want to learn UiPath from UiPath Academy, which is free for everyone. Then the second link is talk about the community members where you can post your queries, you can post your doubts, you can post your technical stuff. Then there is a third link, which is UiPath Marketplace. And I told you that lot many organization has built reusable component. So that's an online library, and from where you can download a component that is built by some other organization to use in your automations. So that's a UiPath Marketplace. Then there is a different portal for UiPath certifications. So basically there are two certifications available and we'll talk about those certifications in the next few slides. So don't worry about that. But that's a portal where you can register yourself for UiPath certifications. Then there is a portal to manage your chatbot connections, which is chatbot.uipath. And then there is another portal where you can practice for the certification. So certifications requires you having the hands-on on the tool for few months, and then only you should be able to participate into the certification exam. And those exam contains MCQs, and for that UiPath has built their online test portal and where you can practice about how those questions will look like. And the ninth link will talk about from where you can see the documentation of the UiPath portal. So these are quick links that you can follow to get the stuffs about the UiPath. Now, so we have seen what RPA is, what RPA can do, what are the different tools available in the market, why UiPath, and what are the important links that we need to know for reading and understanding and learning the UiPath. Now let's talk about career aspiration on the RPA side. What are the different roles available in the RPA? And if someone wants to switch in RPA, how he should be able to position himself, and what are the roles and responsibilities of those different job profiles are. So that's we're going to look about. So let's quickly move to the next slide and see what is the roles that is available in a UiPath, right? So in the UiPath, we have not in a UiPath. Let's remove the UiPath from now for now, and let's talk about overall or a general RPA COE. COE, when I say I am talking about a center of excellence that has been set up in an organization which take care of all the automation need. There might be a center of excellence already available into your organization, or few of the organization are still in a journey to set up a COE. But on a higher level, there must be these 5 roles. The role names could be different. Someone can give a fancy name like automation designer or automation controller or automation developer, but the roles remain same. So you have a on top RPA COE leader because he need to buy for you so that the license and everything can be done. And then you have 5 different types of roles. And the roles and responsibilities of these different roles will differ organization to organization, right? Lot many people or lot many student of mine has asked me in the past that you're saying that RPA is all about automating the task that you do on a daily to daily basis. Isn't the RPA taking your job away? But in reality, RPA is not going to take your job away. It's helping you to taking out your repetitive tasks so that you can focus on more meaningful and high value tasks, right? It's not about that your task will be done by the bot and you will be let free to go from the organization. That's not going to happen. It's all about whatever the repetitive and low value stuff that you do on a daily basis, you should be able to do that using the UiPath tool or any RPA tool so that you can focus on more valuable tasks, right? Other thing that people ask me is what are this and that we should know before starting my career in RPA. A lot of people say and ask me, do we need to know a programming language to start building a career in a RPA? Or do we need to know .NET as a programming language to start building my career in a RPA? So these many things keep coming on. But let me tell you, frankly, that there is no such criteria that you should know this and that before starting learning RPA. The only thing that would be required is an analytical skill that is most valued. You need to know basic workflow structuring like loop, if else, and all those things. If you know those things, how branching works, how flowchart works, you should be able to design RPA bot to do the task on your daily basis, right? So with saying this, let's look at what are the different roles available in a market and what is the job profile that will look for in the market and where they fit in. That's we also going to talk about. So if you look at this deck, there are a lot many roles available in the market. Lot many roles are available in RPA, right? There are operations manager, operations SME, IT, head of RPA, technical architect, delivery manager, design authority, process analyst, solution designer, lead developer, and so on, right? The lowest level role is RPA developer. Those are the process developer having the responsibility to design a bot for you, right? Okay. And then there are senior developers or a lead developer, you could see, those having some experience in designing the RPA bot so that they follow the best practices and the guideline. So anyone having experience of 1 year or 2 year can look for a RPA developer role, or anyone having experience of 3 to 5 years will look for the lead developer role. And then there will be a senior role like solution designer and technical architect, right? Similarly, there are portions in the organization, those are not building bot, but they are supporting the bot. So basically, what they are doing is they are not in a development cycle, but they are on a production side. They are supporting the production bots, right? So then you have support analyst will be supporting the bot when it is moved into the production. Then you have a process controller who is basically a person who will schedule the bot to run and ensuring that the environments and everything is good for running the bot. Then some of the organizations follow, a strict guideline for ITIL. So then you should have a role of a release manager. I just wanted to list out some of the roles and some of the jobs description that I found in a market. It's not exactly same in the each organization. Your organization could have different name, or XYZ organization could have different name, but the roles and responsibility will remain same. So there will be three different lines. One will be a designer and developer line. There, the person will be responsible for designing and developing the bot. It starts from a junior role of a developer to lead developer, to solution designer, to technical manager, to technical architect. And then there will be a line which will be operation support and the process controller. Those who are actually doing the task manually today, they will be the actual owner of the bot and they'll be performing the task like process controller and all those. And then there will be some persons from the IT, those who are responsible for creating the infrastructure, managing the connections, managing everything and all those, right? So it's may differ organization to organization, but there are a lot of roles available in the market. If you want to switch into the RPA as a career, lot of things and lot of roles are available. That's what I wanted to say here on this particular deck. Any question about any of these roles, you can put into the chat. I should be able to answer those, right? All right. So let's move to the next slide and see what kind of certifications we have available with the UiPath. Okay. So UiPath is providing two certifications. The first certification that is available with the UiPath is UiPath Certified RPA Associate. And second certification that is available with the UiPath is UiPath Certified Advanced RPA Developer. The difference between these two certificates are, the first certificate is for anyone, even if you do not want to become an advanced developer. Anyone who is a process controller or who want to learn a UiPath can go and attempt the UiPath Certified RPA Associate program. The course covers, there is a course available on, when I say course, the course is available on UiPath Academy that covers the basic concept of the RPA development and in-depth knowledge related to it so that you can prepare yourself for a UiPath RPA Associate examination. There is a no minimum qualification to be the part of the RPA Associate exams. But if you have experience of building a different kind of a boat for 2-3 months, it will be good for you. Similarly, you have a UiPath Certified Advanced RPA Developer program where you have required a UiPath Certified RPA Associate. That means you are already certified as a RPA Associate and you have a 6 months of experience after getting the certification. Then only you should be able to attempt the UiPath Certified Advanced RPA Developer certificate, right? So one is the associate certification, another one is the advanced RPA developer. For advanced RPA developer, you need to have 6 months of experience in development of the RPA. Along with, you should have been previously certified with the UiPath as an associate. Previously, these all certifications are free. Now UiPath has come up with the pricing model, and now the Pearson is a body who is responsible and managing the certification examinations, right? The price of UiPath Associate Certificate exam is US dollar 150 for 90 minutes. And for advanced certification, you have to pay approx 200 USD and the examination duration would be 120 minutes. There are some, discussion going on among lot many, community members to reduce the, certification fee. And sometimes UiPath also provides you some of the prepaid vouchers and coupons so that you can buy these certifications coupon at the lower prices. And it also depends on if your organization is partner to UiPath, you'll be getting these certification coupon as a free or as a complimentary. For that, you need to reach out to your account partner of UiPath in your organization, right? So this cost is differ for different type of organization and different type of partners. All right. So far we have seen what is RPA all about, what are the RPA tools are there in a market, why we are considering the UiPath and how UiPath has positioned itself as a leader in the market, what are the different certifications available in the market, and what are the RPA roles and response jobs are available in the market. So that's how we have seen so far. But there is a problem, and the biggest problem is RPA works really well with the structured data. When I say structured data, that means data is available as a standard form and saved in Excel or in a database or in a wave form. But in actual real world, most of the data is available as unstructured. And 80% of the data that is produced out of all of this digital system is unstructured. If you look at the slide, there are a lot many structured data available in the market, and there are a lot many unstructured data available in the market. Emails, images, videos, call records, web logs, social media streams, and all those are unstructured or semi-structured, right? Similarly, we have structured data where you have defined columns, fields, and all those. Unstructured data account for 80% of this entire data that is produced out of all of these digital systems. RPA works really well with the structured data. But when there is unstructured data, it has to join its hands with some different technologies to work better. And that's where AI and ML integration comes in. So RPA is a tool that can automate anything that you do on a structured data. RPA is a tool you can automate anything do you repeatedly using your mouse or a keyboard or a click of a button, but it do not have a capability or an empowerment to decide what need to be done next, right? And similarly, it do not have capability to see, given a scenario, if this event has occurred, what could be done next, right? So in all those scenarios, AI-powered RPA is required. And when we talk about the AI-powered RPA, how it is different from classical RPA, then you should be able to understand the true potential of RPA and what RPA can do if you put it thoughtfully and integrate with AI. A classic RPA bot can copy human action. It can copy paste data from the website to your Excel sheet like we do. It can fill the forms. It can chat with somebody given a structured data. But if you put the AI through machine, or you can say AI powered RPA, it can work with some other technologies like OCR, text analysis, and ML and improve the workplace experience. I'll give you one live example that we have recently automated in one of our client organization. So we have a omni-channel contact center. When I say contact center, you can treat it like as a service center. So in a service center, we are getting a request from multiple channels. We are getting a request from the email. We are getting a request on an IVR-based call, inbound calls. We are getting a request from the social media. We are getting a request from the web forms, right? Some of the customers are frustrated. Some of the customers are just wanted to query about what is the status of their last request. Some of the customers are really in a hurry to get their things done. If you apply a classic RPA, it should be able to reply all of those. But if you apply AI-powered RPA, it should be able to understand the context of the messages that you are getting. And based on the context of the messages, it can decide the urgency and the criticality of that particular ticket, and so that it can work accordingly. So we have put together a text analytics and optical character recognition to fetch the details of the PDF that they are sending on a chatbot. And then using the text analytics, you understand that the person is really being frustrated or the person is having some trouble in the past and all those kind of things. And accordingly, you can put the priorities of tickets, right? So this way, you should be able to, decide how things can work in hands with together with the AI. Simply, you can put a traditional automation is a process driven. It talks about the rules that you define in your logic. But when you put AI and ML, it's a data driven. It looks about the data and it has the self-learning capability. It can automatically decide that on the last XYZ day of a given year, this kind of ticket has come and we have done so and so. So I can suggest user to go with this way, right? That can be done with the AI powered RPA. So we can talk more about this, but let's quickly go to the next slide and then we'll see how the future of RPA platforms will look like. As of now, a lot of RPA tools are available in the market, but not all of them are using, AI and cognitive automations. UiPath has provided AI fabric, machine learning model, document understanding, and low-code apps. Similarly, the Blue Prism has provided a gateway to connect many cognitive solutions given by the IBM Watson, Google, Azure, and all. Automation Anywhere is also providing discovery bots, IQ bots, and integration with the third-party software whenever required. Power Automate, which is a Microsoft tool, provides an AI builder, which has native support for Azure AI capability. And many other third-party vendors provide support and integrations with the leading RPA tool, right? So that's how the future of RPA platform will look like. As of now, it's doing a basic RPA, but in future, all of these vendors are coming up with a new component so that they can connect their RPA tool with a computer vision. They can connect their tool with the machine learning. They can connect their tool with the natural language processing. They can connect their tool having a capabilities of analytics and the business process management. A lot of tools are already advanced in that area, but some of the tools are still covering up the gap and they're coming up with a lot many new products and add-ons so that they can provide a future-ready RPA platform. UiPath is really good in this because they have put a lot many new tools last year. Blue Prism has also published at least 5 tools last year, and Automation Anywhere has already running their discovery bots and IQ bots. A lot many other things are coming up. So we see where the future is heading toward. So only RPA cannot work alone. It has to work with in-hands with the AI and ML integration that your organization has already developed or built so that you can put your process automation all through, right? So let's quickly move to the next slide and then we'll see how we can install the UiPath Community Edition, right? So for installing the UiPath Community Edition before building a real bot, I'll help you how to install the UiPath Studio. For that, what you need to do is you need to go to this URL and you need to register yourself. And then I'm also posting a link so that you can download the UiPath Studio on your machine directly. Okay. So I have just sent the links to install the UiPath Studio. And then I'll quickly go to the portal and show you how it can be Done. So all you need to do is you need to go to this portal. Let me open in a new window so that you see what exactly you need to do. So you need to go to this portal and it will ask you to register yourself. So all you can do is you can use any one of your social media account like Google, Microsoft or LinkedIn to register. Or if you wish, you can register using email. So what I'll do, I'll use my Microsoft account to log in. It will ask me for my login credential, right? And then I'm just trying to log in on the portal using Microsoft credentials. So once you register, it's loading up. So once you register, you will land on this page and then you will find a link to download your UiPath Studio. Once you download your UiPath Studio, you should be able to build your workflow to automate your process. So what you can do is you can simply click on this download button and the UiPath Studio will be downloaded. And once it's downloaded, you can run the installer to install the UiPath Studio as you do for any other software that you install on your machine. It do not require any special instruction to install. It's a straightforward. You can use the default setting to install it. I already have my UiPath Studio installed. So I'll straight away go to the UiPath Studio and showcase you how we can build the automation from there. The other thing that you need to do is once you install the UiPath Studio, you need to sign in to get the license fetched from the UiPath. And then you should be able to create your first automations. So it's a pretty straightforward, nothing there. And then when you go on admin, you will see that the orchestrator link is here. So if you click on this, this is the UiPath orchestrator. So we talked about the three basic building block of UiPath. UiPath orchestrator is the one among them which is used to manage and control your UiPath automations, right? So here you could see that you have a lot many tools and tabs. From there you should be able to manage your bots. The first thing that you need to do is you need to click on a tenant, and from tenant you need to create users or create roles if you require for your organizations, and then you need to attach your machine so that you can see that the bot is listed here. So for me, this machine is listed as my name, and then I should be able to run the automation from here. So for now, what I'm doing is I am closing this UiPath orchestrator because I do not need anything to do here. The first thing that we need to do is we need to build a bot on UiPath Studio. We'll build a bot from UiPath Studio and then we'll publish that bot on UiPath orchestrator so that we can trigger it from here, or we can schedule it to run on a different time or whatever the time zone we prefer to run, right? So as of now, I'll close this. Okay, I'll close in this. I'll close this. So now I close this PPT as well because we need to jump to UiPath Studio. So what we can do is we can type into UiPath Studio and launch it for the first time. So when you launch it for the first time, you will see a screen like this. Okay. So when you launch it, you will see a screen like this, and I'll explain you few of the things here that you need to know, and then we'll start building a bot for ourselves. Okay. So the first thing that you need to do is you need to click on new project, and there are different type of projects here. The first type is a process. That's what the general automation works in. Then there is a library. Library is nothing but a reusable component that we will build if you want to use the automation again and again. So say for example, there are some component that need to be used across the different automation. We'll create that as a library, and we can include that library into different processes automations. Then we have a different type of project for the test automation, and then there is a template. So for now, what we'll do is we'll click on the process. So we'll start creating a process. Give it a name. Let's say I have given the name as dim. Then you need to select the location where you want to save the bot. Okay, so you can give it any name, or you can select the folder from here. So you can select the desktop or whatsoever the location you want to select to. So now I am keeping it as it is. Okay, now what you need to do is there is a two choices here for the language. One is Visual Basic, another is a Seesaw. The Visual Basic is a language if you are familiar with the Excel expressions, right? And you can also select the Seesaw. But for now, I want you to stick with the Visual Basic because that's where most of the macros and everything that you have written, if you have automated something using the Excel automations. So simply click on Create. So when you click on create, this window will appear. And there are a lot many different ribbons are available on a UiPath Studio. Yeah. So the first thing that you need to see here is when you created a project, some of the dependencies are already included, which are nothing but a library given by the UiPath to automate your stuff. Then this is the file where your main bot will start running, which is the main.xml. And then this project.json is a file which contains the detail about your bot. As of now, don't worry about all of these. What we are going to do is we're going to see about what are the things available where. The first thing that we need to understand about how this UiPath Studio ribbons are working. So the first thing that we need to look about is lot many tabs are available here, right? So then there is a one tab which is available is manage packages. And this is really important to understand how you need to manage the packages. When you click on this, you will see lot many packages are available, right? These are the project dependencies. When you click on the all packages, these are the packages which are available. Lot many packages are available, and these are published, some of them by UiPath, the one which is shown as a UiPath logo, and rest of others are being given by others, right? So we'll see lot many packages are available here. These are nothing but a reusable component. So there are good probability that whatever the things that you are going to automate, somebody has already automated and provided that as a package so that you can use that package in your automations. So if you want to use any of the package given by any other organization, all you need to do is click on that package. Say, for example, I want to use this database activity package, which is given by the UI path. You need to click on install. Once you click on install and save it, it will fetch all the details from the repository and put that package as a dependency. So if you look at the new dependencies have been added, right? So this is how the managed packages work. The other important point that you need to note here is UiPath works with a concept of called activities. So anyone who has developed the package has provided different tasks as an activity. Let's take an example of automating a web application, right? So automating a web application requires not many things, like you need to open a browser, you need to go to some URL, you need to type in username and password, you need to type in and fetch some data into the fields, right? So for that, what you need to do is you need to input the details, and all those actions that you need to perform on the website is given as an activity. And how you can search those activity? For searching those activity, you need to click on this activity tabs, and there are a lot of activities are available. So if you click on these, all the activities related to Excel is available here. All the activities related to database is available here. All the activity that you need to perform with the email is available here. And then all you need to do is you need to drag and drop this activity while building the code. So say for example, I need to build a code. First thing that I do is I'll bring a sequence here and I'll put a sequence here. And then from the activities, I should be able to drag and drop any activity that I need to do. So say for example, I want to automate my Outlook mails and I want to get Outlook mail messages. So I'll click on this and I'll drag here. Once you drag activity, a new window, that is a properties window, will open up. Every activity has different property. So the property window that you see here is associated with this particular activity. So all you need to do is you need to configure this properties window and store the output as a result into a variable. So we'll briefly talk about the variables, arguments, and all those. But let's have a quickly look about how this properties window look like. So all these properties associated with this activity can be configured from here. And similarly, if you want to perform one task after another task, right? All you can do is you can drop another activity here. And output of this particular activity can be put as an input to this particular activity using concept of variables, right? So whatever the things that you are getting from the Outlook mail message activity, you will store them temporarily in some of the variables that we're going to define, and then put that variable as an argument into the next block so that it can fetch the same data which is given by this particular activity, right? So this is how the UiPath Studio basic workings are. Let's discuss more about the UiPath Studio different options, and then we'll come back to the UiPath Studio again to see how we can automate the Outlook application to read data from your email, right? So let's quickly go and understand some of the key concepts of the UiPath Studio, and then we'll come back to the demo part again. All right. So let's talk about the UiPath Studio types first. So So the demo I have shown just few minutes back, I was talking about the UiPath Studio, right? We also briefly talked about the UiPath Orchestrator and UiPath Robots, right? So the UiPath Studio is one where you design your bot. But there are three kinds of UiPath Studios are available. One is UiPath Studio X, another one is UiPath Studio, and another one is a UiPath Studio Pro. The one that I am using as of now is a UiPath Studio Pro. There are other options of UiPath Studio X, which is being used by the business users. And then there is another UiPath Studio without Pro, which can be used by RPA developers. There are three different variants of the UiPath Studios are available. The only thing that you need to note here is the UiPath Studio X differ in a way of the look and feel because it is used by the business user, not by the developers. However, the UiPath Studio and Studio Pro looks similar. The only thing is that UiPath Studio Pro have some advanced AI and RPA features and testing tools so that you should be able to write complex codes and other things, right? If we want to define what UiPath Studio is, so we can simply define it as a visual interface which provides you a flowchart based modeling tool so that you can create your automations, right? Let's quickly open the UiPath Studio and how you can switch between one studio type to another studio type. I'll show you. So for that, what you need to do is you need to go to home, you need to go to the settings, and then on the settings, you need to click on the licenses and you need to click on view and change profile. So if you click on view and change profile, these are three types of studios are there that I have shown you into the slide. So as of now, I am using this one. And if I want to switch from UiPath Studio Pro to UiPath Studio X, I need to click on this one. So when you click on this one, profile will be changed and you need to restart the UiPath Studio. I do not want to save it. I'll simply restart it. Now, when you restart it, it looks different. If you look at this section, the color also changed. And if you look at this sections, the process has changed to the blank task. And if you click on the blank task, and the UI that will come up will be different than the UI that we have seen previously. So this is different. The only thing this have is lot descriptive nature of the activities are available. So in the UiPath Studio Pro, all of these activities are available, but they are not as detailed as which is written here because this is to be used by the business user and they do not understand the concept of the programming, and that's the reason the inner working of the studio is not shown here. Similar to the UiPath Studio, you should be able to drag and drop the activities and then you should be able to do the things that you do, right? So that's the difference between UiPath Studio and Studio Pro. The licensing is different, the users are different. The only thing that you need to note here is it is used by the business user and it has less capability than the UiPath Studio. For the developers or for the person who has some IT background, I'll suggest to go with UiPath Studio, or those who have been good experience in the programming, they should go with the UiPath Studio Pro. Okay, so that's how different it is. Let's quickly go back to the slide and continue from there. So now we understand the difference between the UiPath Studios. I've shown you the user interface few minutes back. And if you look at the user interface, there are different panels, right? The top panel is a ribbon from where I have shown you the manage packages. Then we have a designer panel, which is the core or a center of a UiPath Studio, where you actually design a bot. Then you have a properties panel, where you have a properties which is related to the activities that you drag in. So in this example, on a deck that I'm showing as of now, assign activity is there, and the property that is shown here is related to this one. So this will differ based on the activity that you are using. Then there is an outline panel, which is on shown as a number 4. There you can see if your processes become bigger, it will be tough to see all the action in a one page, and that's the reason this outline will show you how your bot is structured. Then you have panel 5, 6, and 7, which basically talks about the variables, argument, and imports. Variables are nothing but a temporary space where you will store some result. Say, for example, you have captured some data from the website. You want to store that, so you should be able to store that in a variable. And then if you want to pass that data, which you captured from a website, to a different workflow or a new workflow, you'll pass that as an argument. So that's the concept of the argument. Argument is like for communicating with a different workflow, you need to send some data, right? And when you send some data, you send them as an argument. And when it is received, it has to be stored temporarily, or it has to be stored for further processing. So that's called variable, right? And then we have tab 7, which talks about the import. Import is important when you are dealing with the coding. So when you want to access the .NET library codes, you can import system.core, system.web, system.net, and system. All those library which are available in the .NET programming. So that's for the advanced code developer. Then we have 8, 9, 10. So 8 is the activity panel that I have shown you. So you should be able to drag and drop from the activity panel. Then we have 9, which is a library panel, right? So there are some of the snippet, or say, for example, if you are working on something and you want to save that because you want to use that again and again, you can save that as a snippet that will become as library, so that can be reused, right? And then we have a project panel, which is on 10. So if you go on a UiPath Studio again, and you will see that how this project panel will look like. So I need to change the profile because I do not want to use UiPath Studio X. I want to use Studio Pro. I'll click and I'll restart. So this is how it should look like. So let's open the demo one that we created a few minutes back. So this one. This is a project panel. So in the project panel, you will see all the dependencies that is required for a project or a process automation. And then you have the files, which is actual your workflows, right? So this is all about the UiPath Studio panels. Let's now talk about, I have already explained this. So let's talk about activities, what these activities are, right? I have talked about the activities, but not explain how activities work. So in UiPath Studio, an activity represents the unit of action. So when I say unit of action, that means each activity performs some task, right? And when all of these activities combine together, it becomes a process. So you can say activity is a small block of a task that you do. And when you combine one activity with another activity, and all of those activity can be combined to make some action, it will become a process. So all of these activity that you see here, right, they are a unit of a task that you do. Say, for example, you execute a macro, you look up a range, you create a table, you filter a table. These are one activity. And if you want to perform a task, you will use these activities in a repetitive manner, right? So that's how the concept of activities will be used. If we talk in more detail, say, for example, you can search for the particular activity and use it in a project. For example, browser activity. So you can type a search here by clicking on the activity, and you can click browser. So you should be able to see all the activities which are available for the browser. So say for example, I want to automate a task which will open a browser and go to a web page. So I need to use the activity open browser and go to tab or go to navigate to a URL. So these are the two activities that will be used. So you should be able to search all the activities which are available here. And these will be available only if that package is being imported. If the package is not there, so you should be first you need to install a package from here. And once you install a package, then only that activity will be available. I hope that's clear to you. So let's close this one, minimize this one, and jump back to the PPT. Right? Similarly, for all the activities which are related to Excel, you should be able to search by typing the Excel activities, right? And this is the same example that I have shown you how you should be able to manage the packages. So all you need to do is you need to search for the package name from the search window. First, you need to click on the all package, which is nothing but here. You need to search for the name. Say, for example, I want to automate some FTP task. So FTP related activities will come. You need to click on activities. You need to click on install and you need to click save. So once you click save, that activities will become available here. And now when you search the FTP, you should be able to see all these activities. Previously, it was not available there. So that's how it works. Okay. So this is how you can manage the UiPath Studio activities. You should be able to install many activities and packages from here. You can get the list of activities and packages available using the UiPath community release, monthly release, notice, because community edition also send a release notice saying that the so and so packages has been improved or so and so packages has been added into this release, right? Or else what you can do is you can go to UiPath marketplace and from there you can download, see that what all packages are available there, and you can come back and search and use into your automations. It's like a reusable component. Let's move to the next. Now, we talked about that we have activities, right? But it's really, really good when we design a bot, we should define our workflow in certain way, right? There are some tasks which are sequential in nature that need to be done one after one. There will be some tasks which need to be done based on some business logic. There will be some tasks which requires you to go the multiple branching using the logical operators, right? So there are 4 ways of designing a workflow in a UiPath, which is sequence, flowchart, state machine, and global handle. Sequence is one which is used for almost any processes where you need to go from one step to another step without cluttering your workflow, right? Then you have a flowchart when you want to go and decide some logic, like if login is available, do this. If login is not available, do this. If file is available, do this. If file is not available, do this. If day of week is Friday, do this. If day of week is Thursday, do this. Those kind of things can be done using flowchart, right? Additionally, what you can do is you can use if-else construct inside the flowchart and sequence to better branch it. All right. So this is how it works, and there are different kinds of flow, and all those flows can be checked from here. So when you click on a new, you can create any one of these types of flow. Every time you create a new flow, you should start with a sequence because that's the easy one and that's the best to start with. So when you create, a sequence will be created, and anything that you do now will be put inside this one. So you can drop and drag anything from here, and that will be dragged, and you need to put some properties. Okay. All right. So let's quickly move to the next part of UiPath Studio. So this we briefly discuss. This will briefly discuss. Talk about the variables, right? That is here on this panel. Because we need to store the data before we can move to the next step. So we should be able to create a variable from here. Some variables are string type, some variables are of different type. So say for example, I want to store the name. For storing the name, you give it a name, you can select the type of variable you want to use. So these are the different types of the variables are available. So you should be able to store Boolean, integer, string, object, data table, and a lot many .NET type variables. So forget this about as of now. Only we should consider as of now about the integer, string, and these booleans, right? So if you want to store something as a string, you should define a variable as a string. If you want to define something as integer, you should select that as an integer. A numeric value should be stored as an integer. So that's how you should be able to create a variable. Similar to variables, you should be also able to create an argument. The only difference between the variable and argument is when you have two workflows. Say, for example, you have sequence 1, and now we are creating a sequence 2 sequence. So if you want to pass some data from this workflow to this workflow, you need to define that as an argument. So say, for example, from sequence 1, I am receiving X, and I need to print that X value into sequence 1. What I'll do is I'll create an argument here called nx, right? And I'll print whatever the message that we do here. Okay, so that's how it works. Let's quickly move to the next part, which is the argument uses, right? So that's I explained you in and out and how you should be able to do it. By the way, just a one announcement I want to do. So we are covering a 4-hour session, and in this 4-hour session, what we are trying to do is we are trying to make you explain how UiPath Studio look like, and we'll be doing some small examples tomorrow where we'll be building a bot using email automation, Excel automations, and a web applications, right? But if anyone want to, go for a full-fledged training, they can use the coupon code, and the coupon code will be, that will be used to be given by one of our facilitator, and that you should be able to use it whenever, is able to do it. Okay. So I guess you should be able to contact with Senthil if you wish to get those coupons, and you should be able to see those coupons from the offer as well. So in the offer tabs, you should be able to claim your coupons, right? So if you click on the offers tab, you should be able to see those coupons to upgrade this so that you can get a course, full-fledged RPA course at 55% discounts. That's the current, offer that we are running in. Okay, so let's continue. Now I have talked briefly about the argument, and now, so I'll give you one demo and there I'll explain this, so don't worry about it. The other thing that I need to explain here is before going and jumping into UiPath Studio to build some code, there will be certain control flow decision and loops. And this is basic to all of the programming languages that you must have read. If you are from the IT background, you must understand how if else, for loop, do while, continue, if activity, and switch activities work. Working of all these flow control and decisions works exactly in the same way that you do into the other programming languages. Some of the important control flow activities are assign activity, that is used when you want to assign some values. Delay activity is used when you want to delay for certain duration. Say for example, if you click on the button and you are waiting for file to be downloaded, you need to wait for a 5 second before you can perform some task. So you need to put a delay activity there. Similarly, you have a break activity. Say for example, you are running something in a loop and you are waiting for one file to arrive. And the moment you got that file, you want to come out of that loop. So you can use the break activity. Say for example, if you are running something in a loop and you are saying that if this name is found, do some other stuff. So in those scenarios, you can use the continue. Similarly, we have while, do while, and for each activity. So I hope all of you know basics of how for loop works, if else work, and switch activities work, right? If that's not the case, I'll help you to explain, but I just wanted to give you the quick overview to understand that the flow decision and loops work exactly in the same way that works in a different tools. Okay, I'll give you example using the UiPath Studio. The other most important part of the UiPath Studio is a UiPath recorder. No RPA tool is complete unless they provide some recording capability. When I say recording capability, that means there must be some capability or a functionality that enables you to capture the task that you are doing on your screen and translate that as a sequence, right? Anyone who are not good with, the coding, what they can do is they can use the app and wave recorder to record their task, and then they can modify it and it will work exactly in a way that you are doing. So I'll quickly go to the UiPath Studio and show how you can record your step and you can play with it. Okay, so let's quickly open up this one. And for recording, all you need to do is you need to click on the recording and you need to click on the wave. Say for example, if you're automating a wave task, right? So I'll click on wave. And then what you can do is you can click on the recorder. And the moment you click on the recorder, and then you open up the tab that you want to record for. So say for example, if you want to automate the Chrome task, okay, or you want to automate anything step that you do on this Chrome, okay. So what you can do is first you need to click on record, and whatever the step that you do, you should be able to record it using the task. So that's how it is. Let me give you one working example, and then you should be able to understand it more clearly, right? So the first thing that you need to do is for recording it, let me stop it. The first thing that you need to do before recording to work, you need to go to the tool and you need to install this extension. These are the extensions which are available for automating the task. So say for example, if you want to automate the Chrome with the Chrome, or you want to automate with Edge, or you want to automate with some other stuff. So you need to click on this, you need to click OK. When you click OK, the extension will be installed. And now when you load it, you will see this, click this here. So all you need to do is restore here, and then you need to click on manage extension and see that UiPath has been enabled. So you need to click UiPath extension enabled so that your Chrome can communicate with UiPath Studio. Okay, so now we have this extension enabled, and now we should be able to record the steps that we do on a Chrome. So let me open a tab and type the Google here google.com, just simply, okay, and close this, okay, and now open up the studio. I have already set up the extension. Now I want to do is record my steps. I'll click on the wave recording. This page will come. I'll click on record, and now whatever the things that I'll do, say for example, if I type something, I'll type images, I'll type cat, for example, and then I click on cat, and I click on here, I'll click on here, I'll click on here, so that everything that you are doing, right, is being recorded. And when you click escape and save and exit, the steps will be saved. So if you look at all the things that we have done few minutes before is being saved here, right? So what we have done, we have opened the Google page, we have typed cat, and then press enter. We have click on this link. We have gone to the preparation tab. We have click on this tab. So simple, so useful, so easy it is, isn't it? Right? So by using this wave recorder, you can do whatever the task that you want to do. The only thing problem is when you are working with the dynamic websites, right? Instead of typing this cat, if you want to tap different stuff as a different type, then you need to modify this. And how you can modify this is by defining some variables so that the variables values will be put here. You define name, and then instead of cat, you can pass name so that every time it will come, it will take a different values. Got the idea? So this is how recording works. Okay. In the recording, you have different options. You have basic, you have desktop, you have web, you have image, you have native Citrix, and the computer vision. The difference between them is the basic recorder generates a full selector. Desktop recording is suitable for all type of desktop apps, and the web recorder is suitable for designing and recording the web apps. In the desktop, whenever you are recording something with a desktop recorder, what it is doing is when capturing the selector, I mean, when I talk about selector, so let's take it this way. For RPA to work with any application, it need to identify the element on the screen. Every element on the screen having some unique properties, and that properties are known as selector. So when you are automating a desktop application, the selectors will be different. When you are automating a web application, selector will be different, right? So in desktop, it captures the top level window and everything inside that as a selector. But while it's recording a web, it's capture the simulate type or the click or the input method that you do. So that's the basic difference between desktop and web. And similarly, there is a difference type of recorder called Citrix, which is used whenever you are trying to automate something in a virtual environment. So these are the different types of recorder. One thing that you need to note here is in new UI path, there is a different type of recorder, which is app and web recorder. All of these four are merged using AI and ML technologies, and now they call it app and web recorder straight away. One web recorder can work with any type of application, right? So that's how it is different. But exactly they are doing in the same way. So anytime that you need to record, you can come here and record the things that you do. Similarly, there is another useful concept here is data scrapping. So data scrapping is useful when you want to scrap something which is in a tabular form or any data which is in a tabular form. So let's quickly open me up on one web page which contains the tabular data, and I'll show you how you should be able to capture the data from the tabular, style. I'm just trying to open a web page which contains some tabular data. So here it is, a web page which contains a tabular data, and I want to scrap this data in my automation. Okay, so this is the tabular data that I want to read using the RPA tool. Okay, so for that, what you need to do is you need to click. I'll show it again. So what you need to do is the first you need to click on data scrapping. Okay, and when you click on data scrapping, this window will appear. You need to click on next. You need to select the one field that you want to read into. So let's select it, this one. It has automatically detected that you have selected a table cell and you like to extract the data from this whole table. So you need to click on yes. The moment you click yes, you should be able to see all the data has been captured by the UI path, well formatted in a tabular form, the way exactly looks here, right? It's pretty easy. Not only this, you should be able to edit and modify some of the definitions, right? And when you click finish, it will ask that if the data is of multiple pages. For this example, this data is of a single page, so we don't need to do anything. But if data is of multiple page, you can select the pagination tab here and indicate that. So for now, we'll simply say no, and then you will see this automatic workflow has been generated that will record and capture all the data that has been shown on this web page. This one, right? So that's a pretty easy example I have shown you. There are a lot many examples that we're gonna cover, tomorrow. But meanwhile, what I'll do is I'll try to answer some of the questions that has been asked. Yeah, and then we will see how we can work with the email and how we can work with different type of automations tomorrow. Okay, so the first question that I'm gonna take is from Ravi. Screen of UiPath application. Oh, sorry, it's something. Actually, the font size of UiPath application is pretty small, so I can't help with that. But you can use the videos that has been recorded if possible to see it's in a better way. Okay, and then I have another question. How much hard disk space is required? Frankly speaking, 10 GB space is required because when you are increasing your automations, you need to save lot many packages and lot many activities, and in those case, those things will be required. Okay, what is that? There is another question from Nayyar. Is there any difference in the features of UiPath when it compared to something like Microsoft Flow? There are a lot many difference between the UiPath and Microsoft Flow. Microsoft Flow is now renamed as a Power Automate, right? Power Automate has one wonderful feature that they interact really, really well with the Office project. I mean, Microsoft Offices. But UiPath has lot many activities available for all kind of automations, not only restricted to the MS Office products. And that's the basic difference between the UiPath when we compare with a Microsoft Flow or any other tool. Okay. The other question is from Sagar Arora. Sir, it's important to have this certification. Frankly speaking, certification is only required when your organization asks it to go for it. If you do not want to go for the certification, there is no need to go for the certification. But I have seen lot many people are claiming that they have the RP experience of 2 years and 3 years, and they don't have experience of even 1 year. In those scenarios, not many organization has started asking that, can you give me the advanced developer certification so that we can judge that you have this required set of knowledge before we can jump into the interview. That's where the certification plays a role. So for your resume to be shortlisted, certification looks good. Okay. Another question is, Is there any free tool available for RPA? So I'll tell you, there is another question from John as well. What are the requirements for a developer of RPA rule? That I'll take next. But for Hemant, UiPath community edition is available freely. You should be able to design and create your bot the way you want to do for anything, not commercial. So it will be free forever if you want to do it for personal use. There are few other tools like Robocorp, which is based on Python, that is also available free. OpenBots, which is also available free. Automation Anywhere is also have community edition that is also free. But if you want to do something for your organization, you need to go for enterprise license. That's how it is different. Okay. And any other questions from anyone apart from this one? One more, question is, what are the requirements for a developer as a RPA role, right? That I want to answer before, we bind up our call. Frankly speaking, there is no this and that which is required for the RPA. If you have good analytical skill and you know how to drag and drop the things and you configure the properties like what should be the input, what should be the output, you are a good RPA developer. The only thing that you need is analytical skills. When I say analytical skills, that means you need to understand the logical sequencing of event that you can do. Say, for example, if you want to automate an invoicing system, right? For invoicing system automation, what are the steps that you need to perform? The first thing that you need to do is you need to read the email. From the email, you need to identify which are the email which contains the invoices, right? So that means you need to query using some subject tags or some keywords from the mail. Then those email contains attachment as an invoice. So you need to next define a sequence which will download the invoices, put into some folder. After that, you need to write an activity that will read that PDF to get the text from that PDF so that it can be put into some different application. So if you're able to build a logical flow of automation step by step by considering the exception and what else, what if condition, you are good to go with any kind of role. There is another question. Multiple job descriptions mentioned earlier, all required to have developed an automatic process? No, all do not require developing automation process. Some of them require the automating processes, but some of the roles like release management and all those, they do not require. And then there is a link for the registration that will be announced shortly. You can have a link for the attendance and you can mark that from the attendance. So all you need to do is from the attendance, you need to mark yourself. Okay. So that you can Okay, there is another question from Ravi. Can this RPA be applied to work on more than one computer system at a time, like a mass action? Yes, it can be done. One bot can be scheduled on a multiple worker. It works on a executor and worker concept. But for that, you need to have multiple licenses. Every bot requires a separate license. So if you want your task to be done on 10 system, technically you should be able to do it, but you need a 10 license to run that on a 10 machine. Okay. Any other questions? Because we still have 4-5 minutes, I should be able to answer those. if anything about roles, responsibilities, UiPath Studio, how you should be able to install it, and all those things. There is a question from Munif, how long the full course should be. So we usually run a course of 4 weeks, and 4 weeks, and that depends on different type of schedule. So we have a course which is running on weekends, and then we have a course which is running on weekdays after office hour. So it entirely depends on what kind of course that you are looking for. But yes, we have two options. Aditya, RPA is different than that programming. It's not like where you build IoT devices and all those things. It's basically interacting in a same way that a human is doing, right? So it's like, say for example, a clerk is sitting in a system doing typing, performing same set of instruction every day with some of the knowledge from the past. RPA can do all those tasks exactly in the same way that a human is doing. So it's like a software robot. It's not a hardware robot. It's a software robot, right? The software robot works exactly the way you are clicking on a system. And I have 3-4 examples. We'll be automating Outlook. We'll be automating, Excel. We'll be automating a web-based application tomorrow. So I'll show you some examples there. But I'll request all of you, those who are attending, please download UiPath Studio and install it so that we can have a better practice session and a better working example tomorrow. Yeah. Any other question? Still have 3-4 minutes. Okay, difference between attended and unattended bots. That's a good question. I forgot to add it. Attended, unattended, and there is also a concept of hybrid, right? And somebody also called it hype, different kind of bots. These are all fancy names. The only thing that you need to understand is whenever there is a need of a human or whenever there is a need of a person to trigger a bot, to look after the bot, to approve something or to validate something, that's called attendant. It's working on a same machine where the human is working. That's the concept of attendant. When we say unattended, that means there is no human involved, whether it is acceptance, validations, checking, or monitoring. If it is running by on without a human supervisor, it's called unattended. So anything that you schedule, will be known as unattended. The components of tomorrow that we're going to cover is, thanks for asking, Justine. The components for tomorrow that we are going to discuss, we'll take example of automating an Outlook application. First thing that we'll do tomorrow. Second thing, we'll automate one Excel application to see how we can work with the Excel activities. The third thing that we'll see tomorrow is how we can automate a web-based application. So these are the 3 examples that we're gonna work tomorrow. Each example will take around 25 to 30 minutes. And then we have a QA session where we'll talk about and try to understand how, what all those things can be done. Okay. With this, I'll take a leave. Thanks everyone for joining in. See you tomorrow. Have a nice day. Yeah. Thanks everyone.